Yes, my name is Colonel Philippe. Boz is my call sign, Rogers, United States Marine Corps. I am currently the Deputy Director of Operations for Headquarters Marine Corps, Plans, Policies, and Operations. And I graduated from Naval War College in June 2007. Well, first of all, let me just start off by saying this was, my wife and I look back as this is one of our most fondest tours and one of our most exciting adventures we've taken together. My child was born here. My youngest was born here in the Newport Hospital. So we have a lot of very, very, very fond memories that tie us back to here. And also I had just come from Iraq. And it was very interesting coming directly from an operational environment. Literally July 4th, 2006, I was flying my last combat mission in Iraq. July 30th, I think, I was checking into the schoolhouse, which was not only an abrupt transition, but something that, one, I must admit, I'd always looked forward to since I was a little lieutenant, had just joined the Marine Corps, about going to this, what they call war colleges. And here I was coming in fresh off the battlefield, and I'm not trying to make it sound heroic or anything, but fresh off the battlefield with the latest references, walking into the schoolroom and being able to apply everything I'd learned to an academic environment, which was very, very important to me, because I really enjoy that challenge, and I enjoy pushing myself to articulate our positions better, my speech patterns, my talking, my writing skills. So that was very important time in my life to come and do this. And it ended up being that I actually was at the schoolhouse with a lot of fellow Marines who had just come off the battlefield as well, or that we had served together. Now that's nothing new. It's a small Marine Corps. So we run into each other, but it's amazing the bonds that are reinforced while here in a really more, well, less operational, of course, academic, but more family-oriented environment. And I think we really took full advantage of that, not only academically, but also socially and in a sense, operationally as well, as was comparing notes and really sussing out and pushing to our limits what we had discovered in Iraq and things that we knew the Marine Corps was facing as far as challenges go in the future. It's amazing how the things that I learned here were applied, and I almost was a little bit askance when we were going through national security decision-making theory and strategy and all those things, thinking like, well, okay, how is this really going to apply? I knew there was value to it, of course, at any academic level, but I was thinking, well, how is this directly going to apply it? And I found myself really tickled pink and surprised when I started talking about balanced scorecards and holding yourself responsible as a commander for strategic communications with your unit, things that we had talked about during the national security decision-making. And I went back and I talked to my professor, Colonel Roger Ducey, retired Air Force, and said, you know, it's amazing. I actually ended up going back to my unit and talking about balanced scorecards, strategic communications from the tactical all the way to the strategic level, and applying it to my unit and teaching my unit things about this. And then papers I'd actually written on where I had fallen short as a commander before. You know, I took myself to task during these papers, and Roger Ducey again provided me a lot of great information and feedback, and I actually ended up saying, okay, I'm not going to do that again in my next command. Surely enough, now I wouldn't say 100% mission success, but I would say I certainly was aware of what I learned and applying it to my command, and I think it made it a better command, more enjoyable for me, and more fulfilling as far as accomplishing what I wanted to do. Resources that I continue to use since I've been gone from the Naval War College are, no surprise, a Naval War College review, which I get quarterly, obviously, and a lot of alumni do. But I'll tell you, I'm very excited about reading the, not one just because I was published in it, but also because of the articles that I see that are relevant topics or emergent topics that a lot of interest, a lot of folks are involved in. I know these household names, the professors like Milan Vega, who's prolific as far as publishing things, and it's always a great reach back, if you will, to contact the professors and folks that you know from the staff that are still here, that are still developing these theories, that are still moving forward. I've come back to visit multiple times on the occasions and talked to various professors who I know I had a very, very keen interest in some of the speeches they had presented or some of the thoughts that they had developed while they were here, and I've tried to add to that conversation. The Naval War College Review is also very handy. I like, particularly, maybe no surprise here, I like going back to the book reviews because the most relevant, emergent, sometimes not as well known books on all particular hot topics of the day are there and are being reviewed by Naval War College staff or students or outside contributors. And I really enjoy reading about those and understanding what's out there as far as the topics. I might not read every single one of them, but I certainly will look them up, or I know that they're out there to be readily referenced. Once you're here at the War College too, although you're aware of these, if I call them, if you will, trade publications that are out there, like the Joint Forces Quarterly and other magazines that kind of fulfill some of those roles for the services, you become much more aware of the links between who's writing what and who's referenced why and who's writing what on what particular topic for what reason. It opens up your aperture and your mindset as far as that goes. And it makes it much more understandable, linking everything together when you've had the exposure that you've had here at the Naval War College. It is amazing to me, even though we know this, the ties and relationships that are developed while you're here at the War College. Case in point, when I checked back into the Pentagon, or I checked into the Pentagon, I should say, I have run into more Naval War College friends, cohorts, acquaintances that I had over the years, and it's funny how we'll stop each other in the hallway and we'll say, "You were at the Naval War College," almost simultaneously, and we will talk about professors, we'll talk about issues, and it's amazing how, now we obviously have that between Marines and other service members that we've served with before, but it's amazing how it breaks down whatever barriers there are, immediately locks you in on the same wavelength with somebody and becomes kind of, if you will, an asset or somebody that you can rely on. While I was in, right after the War College, while I was at Marine Corps Special Operations Command, ran into contacts, people who were in the Special Operations field since when I was out in commanding in California, leaned on my fellow War College contacts, whether it be Navy, Army, or Air Force, for certain quid pro quos or exchanges, if you will, or whatever we needed from each other, visits to bases, professional military education for Marines I was bringing to their base. It's been amazing. Also, you have a contact that you can reach out to and talk about subs or P3s or whatever this case may be, if you want the unvarnished truth from, again, a friend. And really, in that short 10 months, it's amazing how well you will develop some friendships that will stick with you for the rest of your life. And you will see people outside of their uniform, outside of class even, in just a natural setting where it is really, it is neat to see somebody and appreciate their whole family, if you will, or their a whole different part of them that you never knew of before. I rely on heavily on my prior contacts at the Naval War College.